orphanages, man, starving them, leaving them naked, bad medical care, dirty water, all that. It was disgusting the way that they treated the people. And they did it while gaining tons of money, and they made her a saint. Well, you can't even be a saint. Who's holding it for? Yeah, give me whatever you got, whichever one you got on.
No, so we got the scripture you want? General, can you hear me?
148th chapter and the 14th verse. He also exalted the horn of his people.
Of his people, man. And we so right in this truth. We so right in this ISUPK. How dare somebody else try to raise himself up as a daggone saint? And people that are evil as hell that just preyed on the people in here, our people come first. All day, every day, from the bottom to the top. This body has come out of the ground because we put on the Spirit of Christ in it. And that Spirit of Christ is where our power lies, not in the lies and games that they put. None of them could ever be saints in that Roman Catholic Church. I just want to divert that for a second.
So can you hear me?
So he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel.
Even of the children of Israel. We're the saints, man, of the Most High. And boy, when we put on that spirit of the saints and really recognize who we are, we won't be caught up in none of the madness that this empire teaches us. Especially days like this Valentine's Day, which is evil as hell.
Sir?
Okay, you got more? That was it?
A people near unto him.
A people near unto the Most High. The Lord don't give a damn about everybody else. But this people, we are near unto the Most High. So anyway, the Roman Catholic Church had one of their priests whose name was Valentine. And how the story goes in their history, so-called story goes in their history. This guy fell in love. They locked him up in jail because what the Romans were doing under Claudius, just to give you a little history. Under Claudius was getting angry over the fact that his soldiers would miss home and they would miss their wives and their children. And he got mad about it. Because it was killing the morale. When he had to go on long wars and long journeys, it was killing their morale. So what did he do? He turned around and banned weddings altogether. He stopped men from marrying. That helped push homosexuality in those Roman ranks. He stopped all weddings. He tried to make men never love their wives and children, which is totally against the scripture. Which is one of the reasons the Roman Catholic Church took it later on and adopted it when they became powerful. So anyway, he banned this priest named Valentine started marrying people in secret against the emperor. Eventually, he found out, locked this guy up. This guy, while he was locked up, Valentine, as the story goes, who knows how well or true they laid the story out. But as the story goes, Valentine fell in love with his jailer's daughter. And him and his jailer's daughter had a relationship. And then when he was, right before they executed him, he wrote her a letter. And on the bottom, he signed it, your Valentine, and gave her the letter. From then on, it became like a thing that you had to fight to be down with Valentine, to love your woman and so forth and so on. And so they pushed it in the Roman Catholic Church, made it something, like a tradition. And then later on in that tradition, they did like Esau does. He'll take a pagan holiday, mix it with his holiday, or even with our holiday, bring them both together and create a new holiday for everybody to worship. And that's what he did with Valentine's Day. Very similar to Christmas. Called Christmas, supposed to be from Christ. But really, it ain't got nothing to do with Christ because it's a Babylonian holiday. It's satanic, but at the time, they had to use Christ to bring it in. And that's what they did. And that's what's so evil about these empires, man. And so evil about these gods. And I particularly hate when I read about how these gods have so much love. Like this god, this demon of Valentine's Day, this demon of Cupid. I know y'all heard of Cupid for Valentine's Day. I'm going to mention that in a second. And we're going to go into the Purim. These holidays have been around so many hundreds of years. So many hundreds of years. And have still, and no matter what empire comes along, they go back and find the gods, pull the gods back up, and start bringing them gods into the mainstream all over again. And before you know it, the people are all worshiping these different gods and religions that have been around such a long time, that have been such an enemy to the Most High. And meanwhile, we quick to turn on our God. You read our history, the sad part is, you read the history of these gods. These gods have been coming back into the earth over and over again, and we worship them and love them and died over them in many cases. Okay? In many, many cases. We were the ones that bring back, and I'll mention this again in a second. We were the ones, believe it or not, that brought back. We were the ones that brought back the worship of Cupid. We're the ones. We were during the time of the Hellenist period, when the Greek empires were running, and we were caught up into the Greek and Roman empires. We brought back Cupid. We made Cupid in our ignorance, just like we do today in these Greek fraternities. We turned Cupid. Cupid was one of their warrior gods, which is also associated with Valentine. We took Cupid, and to make him palatable to us, we made him into the little baby. You know how they got Cupid like a little baby? We did that. We did that in our ignorance under the Hellenist period. We brought in Cupid and made him a little baby and made him, likable and lovable and started worshiping him one more time over and over again. Which is why you come into this truth, man. Loving our hot holy days, loving our culture and our identity is just more than just love. It is an obligation to keep the strength of our nation and our way of life going to the damn end. That's right. It's an obligation on death, man, that our culture never died. And our culture, once again, here's what's the beautifulest thing about our entire culture as Hebrew Israelites. Everything in our culture is about defending ourselves from those who have destroyed us in the past. Every high holy day, every event, our culture, our style, our dress code, everything has been to fight against these heathens who have forced their gods on us. And we worshiping them today from thousands of years ago. So, but that day is changing. That day is changing because men come into this truth like you brothers and you sisters, and they open up these scriptures and they find out this truth and taught these records, and then they realize. You realize how many thousands of years these demons have been fighting against your God. How many thousands of years these demons have been fighting to break your culture down, to destroy your priesthood, to destroy the power of your men, to destroy the leadership of your nation. You find that out. You find that out when you start studying these scriptures and going back into the history. When I go back and read about Nimrod, 5,000 years ago, he's still today the biggest holiday on the planet. Christmas is about a demon from 5,000 years ago, the weather god, whom they worship 5,000 years old. Brother, our culture is amazing. And it's the kryptonite to that nonsense. Everybody's worshiping these holidays. Everybody's worshiping Valentine's Day. Let me get a little more, right? I'm going into Cupid just for a second. I had to get a little history of this. Again, I hope y'all don't mind. We're going to get into it a little. So Cupid, right? Everybody heard of Cupid, the little cat with the arrow. Cupid started out as Eros or Eros. They pronounce it differently. I'd say Eros. And he was the god of lust. Like, they got Valentine's Day. We worship in Valentine's Day like it's about love, right? And a lot of our brothers and sisters go out and buy, flowers and chocolate and bring it to their rib. Thinking that they worshiping it as love. But this holiday is a holiday about lust. This ain't about love. This is about lust. This is about allowing you to put on a demon that allows you sexually to go and do whatever sexually. That's why you got, and this is what's in this empire. That's why you got all these genders now. You got, he, she, they, it. You got about 20 different genders now. Okay? Used to just be 2, male and female. Now you got about 10. And that comes from a lustful demon. A lustful demon, again, has been around so long, which is why we were so courageous to crush it in every empire we was in. That's why our prophets stood up against. That's why Daniel would not bow down when he was in that empire. That's why Christ was silent when they came and brought him to try to put him to death. That's why our prophets were that the way they were. That's why they were so vicious for our way of life and went to war on these nations. We got the hell up out of Egypt, brother. We put hell on this earth. Right. And hell on this earth, because if we had not put hell on this earth would have swallowed up every high holy day of the Lord, every piece of our culture, our history, our identity, everything. We'd be walking around in suits and ties and talking perfect English. Instead, we looking very different. Right. Acting very different. And thank the Most High for that. You understand? Like, we haven't even begun to explore how grateful we really should be for the Most High. He does so much for us as a people that we don't even see subtly the things that he does for us. You know what I mean? So anyway, 700 BC, the Greeks created this god called Eros. And here's the thing about this god. This same Cupid, this same Valentine's Day, they considered this cat, Eros, or Eros, I forget how you pronounce it. They consider this God to be the God of creation. They say that he came from, to show you how they know the records about people. They say he comes from the God of chaos. And the chaos meaning it's nothing there. Then came Eros, who brought in the earth, which they call Gaia. A lot of you heard about that Gaia. You hear that word a lot now. They talk about that pertaining to the UFOs and all that other nonsense. That Gaia project. The word Gaia is Greek. And it's a Greek Latin word which means the earth. And so they're saying that this guy, Eros, brought in the Gaia, brought in the earth, and at the same time brought in the so-called love or so-called lust of the earth. Meaning there was nothing there before, he brought it in, so now he gets to be worshipped. So who are they saying that is? They're really saying us the Most High. They really disrespected the Most High from 700 BC. And back then, all the nations knew who we were. They knew who we were. They knew the story of the Lord's creation. Remember, we were all together at once. Then we got separated. Once we got separated, everybody had the story. And so they knew the story, but created their own gods for it. Okay? Now I'll just break it down. It said, son of the god of chaos or emptiness. He came into existence at the same time as Gaia, the earth, and Tartarus, the underworld. So supposedly, from that nothingness came the underworld and the earth, the two different levels of the world. This is their Greek mythology. This is your Valentine's Day. This is what you're doing with that chocolate and all that. And of course, over time, once again, they changed the names and come with other iterations to make it more palatable to us. But it's so right to come up against it, especially on a night like this, where we get to talk about and get into our high holy day, get into the things that we fought against for our survival, as opposed to worshiping one of their gods, not for our survival, but for our hurt. Valentine's Day hurts us. Valentine's Day helps teach our sisters to be free from the obligation of marriage. Teaches our brothers to lust after what's in this kingdom now. The demonic damn thing. Other names for them was Ares, Hermes, Mars, Zeus. Y'all heard all them Greek names. At one time or another, they changed some Greek Roman names over. Again, he used to be a warrior god, like some type of warrior. That's why he got the bow and arrow. We eventually later on, again, turned him into a baby. And the reason we turned him into a baby, show you how messed up we were. During the Hellenist period, we were fighting because we're a masculine people as men. We're not like Esau. Esau shaved his beard off. He's a feminine man. That's why he's so easily into homosexuality, and the other nations follow along with him. But us, the 12 tribes, we are masculine people. We are very, manly people. warrior type people. And so with this God, during that Hellenist period, we was upset that this God had so much power and was subject onto his mother, which was his love. Whole bunch, I don't even want to go into the whole damn story. He eventually married, so-called married his mother and became his mother's lover. Once again, it was about lust. That's what he was about. And so we didn't like that. We didn't like the fact that his mother both had him as a lover and had control over him as his mother. So we turned around and said, well, we're gonna fix that. We turned around, instead of getting rid of him, coming back to the Most High, we turned around and turned him into a baby, which made him more palatable for everybody. And so then we start drawing paintings and pictures of him as a baby. Next thing you know, it starts spreading all around among us that, we're going to turn around and have him as a baby. All right? Going on real quick. Check this out. He eventually became, because of his way of lust, he eventually became a deity associated with homosexuality and homosexual love. Which makes good sense. It makes good sense since it already was demonic and full of lust. And what's happening to us today? We're taking all kind of drugs, man, to become homosexual. What's that drug? That ecstasy? That's, that's Valentine's Day. That ecstasy is Valentine's Day, which is as warriors of the Most High and men of God is so righteous to fight against all of these. It should never be criminal. We should fight to get every single brother off the drug, get his mind back, get his spirit right. We should war on these streets like we do, that it never be able to be said that this word didn't go out and stop the evil that they put out every day. Damn Valentine's Day. All right. A little bit more on this. A couple of quick scriptures, if I could, Jeremiah. Romans 1:25. Let's start with that.
In the scripture, Doctor. Romans 1:25.
Hey, if y'all need more chairs, we can make more room in here. You trying to get more seats up in here? Is all right? All right, listen, let's tighten up the seats, y'all. Push them seats up a little bit. Y'all brothers, come on up front. Let me tell you something, man. In some of the schools we used to teach at and we're going to again, probably already is going there. We used to have so much students in the room that brothers and sisters had to sit, not sisters, but brothers had to sit all up on the podium. Used to be brothers all up on the podium. That day is coming right back. After a while, you're going to be building lofts in here. Seats all up on both sides. Yeah, come on up. Y'all move up some. Move up some. You get closer. Plenty of room up there. Move on up. Yeah, there you go. Move them chairs up, y'all. Move them chairs up. Make some room up in there. We should be thankful to the Most High, man, that we running out of space in here. That means more warriors, more systems. Don't sleep on their job either. We can fix this nation, man. We can wipe out this pain. Come on. We can wipe out this pain, man. That's in this nation. Y'all can come up. Come on up. Come on up next to my yacht. Come back. My bad. Okay. Good. My yacht. Romans 1:25. I got 1 or 2.
Read it out like a loud cat. Romans 1:25. The book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? We took the truth of the Most High, man, and turned it into a lie. Thanks be to the Lord. Men of God are being raised up to turn it from that lie back into the truth. Full of fervent heat and fire in their soul to make sure that God's word gets in this earth. And listen, you don't need no faith no more. The Ruskies is getting ready to cross the border. You don't need no faith no more. You ain't gonna tell me. You ain't gonna tell me we didn't say something here. We said this up in here, man. Now they may go over, they may hold off, but eventually they go.
too right now. They say China is salivating at the opportunity to invade Taiwan. The Russians ain't even responding. And listen, they sleeping on that Biden. Biden been around. He's been around a long time. And he listens. He ain't like Trump. He listens to the think tanks. When them think tanks and CIA and all them turn around and say, look, the Russians is moving. You got to do something. He's going to let them do it. He old too. He ain't worried about it. He got one son left. Son ain't in the military. He could care less. You understand? He could care less about it. They got mad about the ownership of the Super Bowl. He said, man, it's about time. He said, so many players up in there. They went and got, what's the name of that Jake that paid all that tuition for all of those Morehouse students. He paid $34 million to pay off the tuition of a whole class of Morehouse students, black people, millionaires. They want him to buy one of the teams now. They ready to turn this kingdom over. It's going down. So righteous, so what it should be. So you don't even have to really have that much faith anymore. It's clear in front of our eyes. And that's why our job, brothers and sisters, is so important. Our job right now is so important to save every soul, to wake up every spirit, to bring every brother out of the darkness. We got to get tunnel vision, especially going into 2022. We got to get tunnel vision on bringing brother's spirit back, man, from the dead. We got to wake up every brother out of the madness and watch what the Lord does. Give me a little bit more, Maya. I'm going to pass it on to the next scripture. Stick with me. You want to grab another read? You got it? Go ahead. I know you're working.
Book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 25.
Yeah.
Who changed the truth of God into a lie?
We worship every God, every religion, every ideology, and it's killing and destroying us, man. Now, because we got prophets, we got men of God that turn to the Most High. Because we have that, now that lie will get crushed. That lie will get crushed if you strong enough to stand up against that lie. You willing to put it all on the line that lie died. You hate Valentine's Day as much as you should hate, then you will kill it. You hate Christmas as much as you should hate. You just well, I know it's not really of God. That ain't good enough. That ain't good enough. It got to be that it's destroying brothers and sisters, worshiping that God. It's angering the Lord. It's making the Lord turn. The Lord said, I will see what their end shall be. He turned his back. And then said, when he turned his back, we get the scriptures if y'all want. I know I'm running, y'all. Pulling me. And then he turned around and said, I will hide my face that they would not know. Now, that's an old school scripture. Y'all might even see my hands about that. That's an old school one. I know y'all probably haven't used that one. You know the one I'm talking about. Like that, like the Lord said, man, I'm going to make it so they don't even know me. And here we are. We all Gentiles now. We don't know. But through the mercy of Yahweh shall be coming back. You got to hate that Christmas enough, man. Come on with it. Finish.
And worship and serve the creature more than the creator.
Serve this creature, man, more than the creator. Serve this way of life. Serve this. Give up your life in this place, man.
That's right.
Throw your life in the trash in this place. He did what? Try to save his life shall lose it. He that loses his life for my sake shall gain it. Throw your life away, man. Throw it away. Throw it away and gain the kingdom of heaven, man. Throw it away and destroy Valentine's Day out of this way. I mean, these are some real demons, man. We're talking about, 2,700 years of demonic service to the tune of $14 billion today. They clocked $14 billion today off of a demonic holiday that's 2,700 years old. You got to be strong and chill. Like the earth. This earth is supposed to be all worshiping the Most High day. Not these days. Go ahead, Al. That's it on that? Go ahead, finish.
Who is blessed forever. Amen.
Deuteronomy 4:19-20. Going on.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 19. And lest thou lift up thy eyes unto heaven.
And you go back into the story. This is the Lord during Deuteronomy through Moses warning us of exactly what we're doing right now. Exactly what all our brothers and sisters are suffering that's out there in the world right now. Suffering and lives being wiped out, and they don't even understand why. They don't even understand why they got coronavirus. Thanks be to the Most High, we understand. We understand it fully and clear. They don't understand it, and they losing loved ones and dying out there. Don't know whether to take the vaccine or not take the vaccine. But Christ opened the door for us in here. And opened the door for them if he had mercy on them and let them come in. What we have is pure gold, brothers. And we are going to wield this golden sword like never before. We're going to say, brother, listen. That house called me up and said, turn on the TV a couple days ago. I said, man, you gotta see this. I clicked the TV on, and all I saw was Russian tanks across CNN screen. Brother, I almost fell out the bed. I was saying, what's going on? What's up? He said, man, the Russians are on the border of Ukraine. Well, I said, what's the U.S. saying? We got into it. I was excited. I felt the hair on my head. I felt the hair. I said, am I losing my hair? What's going on? The hair of my head started tingling. I knew what it meant. I knew that it meant that God was changing. And by goodness, it not come to pass. We needed it to come to pass. We suffered for so many hundreds of years here. We needed to have food. We need the missiles to fly. We need the end of the war, the world to come. We need the empires to fall apart. We need to breathe in us the spirit of freedom for once. We need to breathe in that the culture that the almighty power handed down to us is real and will happen in this earth. We need for once to lift our head up. For once to let our head stand tall that we are in the right of the Most High and not the criminals they want us to be. Damn that. Damn that. Okay? Let's go ahead, Doc. Give me some more.
And without the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven.
Yeah, when you start seeing these things and start looking at the host of heaven, all the different constellations, stars, on the moon, everything that's out there,
Right.
and everything you've ever read about, what would we do? Go ahead, nice and quick. Go ahead.
Should be driven to worship them.
We've been driven to worship at Valentine's Day. It's fun. Christmas, Thanksgiving. It's fun, man. We've been driven to worship them. And it's been the tool of every nation that has ever hated us. It's been their tool. They'll conquer you with war, but how do they keep you conquered? By worshiping their God. That's why we should be reviled at any of the gods of these nations. Any of the idea of these gods of these nations should revile us. Because to even consider, now I'll go a step further. To consider anything but this truth is in essence you asking me to go ahead and submit myself into slavery under another God. I don't care if you made it up, some religious, some one of them things they have where you go away to a retreat, a sweat house, they put you in a damn a tent, turn the heat up 100 degrees, tell you worshiping God. I don't care what it is. If we doing it, if you get this brought to me, and you telling me to go worship another God. That's what you telling me to do. And brother, I'm to be reviled. Because it is the avenue to keep me enslaved. It is the avenue to keep me enslaved. You gotta have you gotta be single-minded. Single-minded and hate everything that has to do with these other nations, man, except when they come into slavery under us or they kiss and boo. That I love. I like a little booty kiss. Big shout out to General Maya. This way good. Right! Big shout out to the whole New York camp. They was out there having the on the deep. Almost got him, Maya. Almost. Got him right there. He was here. I heard he was right there. The last minute, all right to Times Square. Shook it loose. But he was close. That's all right. He gonna get what he needs to get. You understand? And it is righteous in the eyes of
for and done by nobody threw the white Jesus on the ground, smashed it on the ground in Times Square, but the Israelite School of UPK. Go check the history. Nobody threw the Quran down the block when they tried to shove that God on us. Nobody did that with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. And brother, people crush every lie, every religion, every God, every worshiping that goes on in this kingdom, except our culture. We will bring our culture up. Bring our culture out of this. And for those of you out there in the world that don't understand it, you think we should love everybody, consider other cultures. You sit up there reading 1,000 books and think all of that is knowledge, to improve you and all that. You're a fool. You're a fool and you're blind and you're led away easy. But not in here. Right. In here, this is a different time, different people, and a different breed. And it's a beautiful thing in the sight of the Most High. We impress the Most High. See, I look around this room. This room is packed. Let's take a look. You can turn your head. Look around this room. This. See what's going on in here? This is those that escape the demons of this world. This is those that escape this evil world. And we don't balance it again. But you have impressed the Most High. That goes for all the schools out there, because I know I heard other schools as well, that you have impressed the Most High by breaking from this kingdom. I know, brother, let's get it. Keep on going, you die nice and quick for and serve them which the Lord God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Right. He let them go ahead and worship God. But not us. That's not for us. We not to do that, man. We to crush them. Crush them in every way. 20th verse. For you, nice and quick. But the Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace. The Lord has taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace. Egypt was an iron furnace. America is an iron furnace. You in an iron furnace. And when I say an iron furnace, it's called an iron furnace. Old furnace. The worst thing in the world in that furnace, and it's iron, so it don't never break. Most High came and got us out of that furnace. In this room right here, you done got out of that furnace. We're gonna bring the world out of that furnace. In all them camps, and you brothers out there in all them schools, you done escaped that furnace. And we're gonna bring our nation out of this furnace. This is an iron furnace we in. Brother, the prison system, the diseases, the drugs, everything that you can think of that goes on here. You eat the food. Listen, when in the history of man have you ever heard in any history record where men die because of the food that they eat that's grown on without poison? Have you ever read that? Well, that's what's happening to us here. You eat the food of this kingdom and die of a heart attack. You eat the food of this kingdom, you become diabetic. We in an iron furnace. The food we eat is even against us. So, we're coming out. Go ahead. Even out of Egypt, which is America. Go ahead. To be unto him a people of inheritance. Oh, what we need. We need a people of inheritance. We need our land, our culture, our identity. We need our God. That's what we need. We need our king. That's what we need. We should strive to crush this Valentine. Go ahead. Big shout out to every sister man that revived this Valentine. They pushed up against this. Double honors to the sisters that were strong enough to say the other sisters in question. It's one thing to pull out. Boy, it's another when somebody questions you on it. You like, I don't celebrate you both at the same time. Big shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Some of these sisters might not want but not go ahead. Let's read on. As you are this day. Okay, one not gonna get one last one, y'all do around 17-2. Nice and fast. Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 2. If there be found among you within any of thy gates.
And understand this, the scripture that he's reading is a scripture from, it's going to be instituted in the kingdom of heaven. And I'm reading it so you can just see a comparison real quick of what it should be. What should our kingdom be? And how should our kingdom be when these holidays come to our doorstep? How should we be? Go ahead, Al.
Which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, and have wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God.
This is how you brought wickedness in this instance, in the sight of the Lord.
And transgressing his covenant.
Breaking this covenant, going against these laws, statutes, commandments, and more. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And gone and served other gods.
Thanksgiving. Like a holiday disguised as love, but full of lust. To destroy you. Go ahead.
And worship them, either the sun or moon, or any of the hosts of heaven.
This is something that is always trying to pull on us to worship anything but the Most High, His law, statutes, and commandments. And you gotta fight that conflict, man. Fight that conflict inside you, man. You don't need shouldn't be no conflict in you on whether or not you serve the Most High or halfway serve the Most High. Break that conflict, man. Become extreme. If you haven't already, you shortening yourself for what the Lord is trying to hand to you. You haven't went extreme, you have shortened yourself, man. If you done thought too much about your life and saving your life, y'all get a chair if you could. You got room up here. Come on. Just leave some room for them to walk by if you need to. You mean? Let's fit us in here, man. Let's get in here. Like I said, after a while, they're going to come in, brother. You're going to have to build the rafters up here. You're going to have to build, you're going to be seats all up on the ceiling everywhere up in here. Because this is where the brothers and sisters are going to escape. And this is where they need to be able to escape. And when they see it and know it, like it ain't got to that point yet, but we real close. Plagues, Russia on the border, we getting close. Wait till they go ahead and cut that oil off. That's coming next. Right. You're going to go up in there, man, and start jerking that oil around. More and more and more of that is going to break that spirit of these demons off of our brothers and sisters. And they're going to come running for this. They're going to be coming in here to get into this body. Thanks be to the Lord that He had the mercy on us to give us a chance to be the ones to deliver them, man. To be the ones to bring them out of this fire, brother. That is an honor. I mean, I can't even explain. I cannot even explain the honor of being able to do a job for a king, a real king, Yahushua. That is such an honor, brother. And it's an honor that you should not take lightly. It's an honor you should commit your whole life to, male and female. You should commit your whole life to. It ain't nothing out there to commit to. I don't know what you commit to out there. Right. It ain't what you want holding on to. You holding on, what you waiting on? Right. You know what I mean? You waiting to hit the lotto or something. Then you gonna bring your ties, you gonna come in here. I'm ready now. All my bills is paid. That's what you waiting on. Stop playing out. Grow up. Grow up. Grow up and become a child. I take it, thank you. Go ahead, gentlemen, please.
As Mark is saying, I mean, I know that's the Christian spirit is to say, let me get myself together before I can help anybody else. And then you be chasing that forever.
Exactly. And you be chasing it forever because you can't fix yourself. You cannot fix yourself, man. You got to come into the body of Christ to be fixed. Right. You can't fix yourself. That's a joke. You got to come in here under Christ's order to get fixed. Listen, and when you get in here under Christ's order, you better seek to get fixed. Don't come in here and hide from being fixed. You better come in here, brother, and and bow that neck and learn what you got to learn in here, brothers, and especially sisters. You a sister that come into this truth, listen, already count yourself as being being wrong. And then learn this truth, man, and become amazing. Learn this truth and really become born again and become amazing in the work. And the same with brothers. You ain't gonna fix yourself out there, and you certainly ain't gonna fix yourself in here by yourself.
Nobody fix themselves in here by themselves. You get fixed in here by this body of Christ. That's how you get fixed in it. By these priests and prophets that come in here and help you and fix you. You understand? And change you. In every aspect. Every aspect of you in here is a remolding of you, a rebuilding of you. And you to submit your spirit to it, man. And you to shake whatever you told to shake, fight tooth and nail. It take 10 years for you to shake it. You fight it and you shake it and you become brand new. Scripture say, make your election sure. Stop it. Don't play with it. It is the greatest gift that has ever been handed to us, man. To fight against these so-called holidays, to fight against all this evil, to be a part of the Lord's body. One of the greatest things we could ever ask for. Let me finish it. I'm waiting to 8 o'clock. Come on, sir. Which I have not commanded. Right. The Lord never commanded us to worship these things. Yet we still worship it. Give me 4th and 5th. Come on, sir. And if he told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true. That's what we've done in here. We've inquired diligently against these gods. Searched up their history. Searched up their religions, man. Found out all about it. Studied them from 69 on up until today. And came up against them. Go ahead and finish your Come on, sir. And the thing certain that such abomination is wrought in Israel. It's an abomination wrought in here that we worship Valentine's Day. I come out of the house, I see a Negro with flowers. I want to vomit. I see. Make me want to vomit. Nothing wrong with giving flowers. Some brothers. Flowers. Nothing wrong with giving flowers. Don't give no flowers on Valentine's Day. Right. Don't do that. Not for us. That's not us. That's them. Go ahead. Verse 5. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which hath committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shalt stone them with stones. That's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day when you try to worship Valentine's Day in Christ's kingdom, a religion and an ideology that's been around for thousands and thousands of years, seducing our people into worshiping it, making them rich and destroying our families and our children and our marriages mainly. You bring that to the gates of Jerusalem in that day, and they're going to take you and stone you to death. They're going to kill you over Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day, worshiping Valentine's Day in Christ's kingdom is going to be a death penalty offense. And that's a beautiful thing. It's going to be a death penalty offense. And why is this such a beautiful thing? It's a beautiful thing because worshiping Valentine's Day is what leads you to be enslaved under these other nations. It turns you from the Most High, which is why it's so beautiful to kill. Some things got to get killed in this kingdom. Y'all move up a little bit more. Can y'all move up more? No. They need that path. Everybody scoot up just a little bit and get more sisters in here. All right. All right. Let's get into it. The water system. I love that you packed it too tight. I love it that you ain't got no room in here. I love it. Y'all will talk about me after. He had to sit with his knees all sweet. I love it. Because it means that in all these schools and camps, because of your hard work, and know this, man, know that your hard work on these streets means so much to this work of the Lord. Right? That hard work is paying off with brothers and sisters coming into the truth, which means all brothers and sisters get to stand up against this kingdom, man. We can decide what we want to decide if we're willing to come together and serve the Most High. And brother, so like General Mayak mentioned earlier, was saying that we've been waiting on these things for a very long time. And now these things are coming to pass, and it's glorious in the sight of the Most High. It is glorious in my eyes as well. It is a beautiful, beautiful damn thing. Diane left off. Somebody can take it for him. I think we're done with it, right? Are we done with it? Yeah, I think he said stone them until they die, right? Did you finish it? Oh, that was it. Okay, no sweat. Let's go ahead.
Hey, Jeremiah, son, take me to Purim. You get what you need. Yeah. You just put it up for me.
Any officer 500 or 50 that can be food.
Where we going with that?
Sisters up in start getting that food on plates. Or the brothers start serving food now.
3 and 1. Yeah. Let's read about this amazing brother and this amazing sister.
God of concert. Book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 1. After these days, the king Ahasuerus provoked Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite.
Right. So background, Persian and Mede Empire, correct? Haman was his first in command, man right under him, worked close with this king. Persian Empire at that time was ruling the world. They had taken over part of the Mede Empire. They had worked two empires together. They was in complete power. Once again, we rose to the top in every empire, especially the tribe of Judah. The tribe of Judah, just their skills and ability, always takes them to the top of every empire. And every empire needs people of skill and ability, and they see these 12 tribes, and they always rise to the top. And so as we read about these amazingly powerful empires, we also read about how we affected these empires. And this is one of those great stories. Go ahead, Al. And if I could, keep in mind in this story, like we bring out every year, this story right here is why you are a fool if you join any other empire on this earth. This whole idea of a melting pot with America and coming together with America is insanity if you understand this Bible. This story right here of this system having to say the right words to deliver this nation, brother, is proof. We'd have never put our trust in these nations. Like we almost lost the entire nation of Israel because of one heathen's ego. That's what you read about. A heathen's ego. We almost wiped out our entire nation just for his self-satisfaction of a damn heathen, which is why we're never. Let's go on. Go ahead.
And set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him.
Right. He was in power, and the king said, everybody respect this Haman. He's doing a great job, respect him. He's a heathen. He told them all to respect him, bow to him, all the princes, meaning they ruled. They was, I think it was how many provinces? 128? 128 provinces that they ruled, which means they ruled across, they were basically ruling the whole world. Unless you was way out in the outskirts somewhere, they basically was ruling your whole empire. And those princes who ruled all those empires had to bow down to this cat Haman. That's how much power this dude had. He was a world leader. And with all that power, with all that, enormous armies, this basket still wasn't satisfied. Like, you cannot worship the king. This basket was still not satisfied and was going to kill us for it. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Come on, give me a little more.
But Mordecai bowed not.
But Mordecai bowed not. That's upside. We fight the power. Like public enemy said, we fight the power. And in this truth, we fight it the best. Don't tell me we ain't supposed to be out of fun. How many times those of you that's out there speaking on the phone, and of course, all of the generals and captains have done this for so many years. Y'all know this better than anybody. How many times have we heard of somebody coming to us telling us, y'all got a good message, but y'all delivering it the wrong way? Right. 1,000 times we done heard this. 1,000 times. They all want us to stop resisting the spirit of this empire. We're going to resist this. We're going to resist this empire. We ain't breaking no laws, but we will resist this empire. We will resist worshiping their God, being a part of their empire, loving what they love. And most definitely, we're going to resist worshiping their God. Start with that white people. We're going to resist all of it. Go ahead,
Nor did him reverence. Mordecai didn't look at him like he was something special. How do you worship these Edomites? I saw that old Eminem bow down during the Super Bowl halftime.
Right.
Bow down on his thing. I saw the tape. I didn't watch the game. I saw the tape. I know you're all eating my game. No, I didn't watch the game. Ain't nothing wrong with watching the game. You watch the game, good for you. You know, man, you leave, you did your thing, that's you. It's cool. That bastard got up there and bowed down like he was in solidarity with us. And bowing down. When everybody that was on that stage at that time was really a traitor to the black community. Like they revived the football to make more money, when meanwhile the football was getting ready to destroy everything when black people decided to stand up against what was being done to our brothers and sisters. They used Jay-Z to kill the motivation of black people to take care of themselves. And of course, our entertainers sold their soul out to jump up in there and make sure the NFL didn't fall apart. They was on the brink. They was about to catch it during that pandemic. And of course, Jay-Z had to help deliver them out of there. And get me right if I'm wrong. Colin Kaepernick still don't have a job, does he? And then who was breaking down the stories? I think you was breaking it down to me. Somebody was breaking down the story of me about that black football coach. Yeah. Like they went to interview him knowing that they had given the job to somebody else. Like no kind of respect for black people. Like in certain circles, like that sport, they are extra racist in those circles. Those circles where we elevate and where we are great at, they even more pushing for us to be pushed down. Like you got to be in that NFL, brother, you got to get pushed down. To be in that Hollywood, you got to get pushed down. What did Leguizamo say? The actor, he said that he had to stay out of the sun. He said he had to stay out of the sun to keep getting roles in Hollywood. He told his agents, look, you want roles? Stay out of the sun. Don't get attacked. Then he had to lie and say he was Puerto Rican when he's actually Cuban. He had to lie and say that to make sure that nobody associated him. I mean, he was Colombian, not Cuban, Colombian. That nobody associated him with Colombian cartel. So he had to lie and say he was Puerto Rican. Evil empire, brother, and it's going to be beautiful for it to be gone. We don't even know what it's like to be free. You be acting like you're free. You ain't free. Your mind certainly ain't free. You don't know what it's like as a people to come together and make decisions for you and your people independent of any other nation and only for the benefit of your people. That's why every so-called black president or black governor or black mayor got to get up and say they're the mayor for all. They can't get up and say they're the mayor for black people or they're the governor for black people or senators or congressmen or whatever. They can't do that. Because once they do that, they separate themselves from the Edomites and the Edomites with women. So let's keep going. Where you at?
I found the book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's command?
Mordecai is a badass dude. He's sitting up there, brother, in 3 hours. This is a captain, this dead man who walks in and out like this. That's how much power he has. But meanwhile, with all the power that he received, and that's why these old jakes can get all this power in this kingdom and get way up to the height of this kingdom and start to sell out, they got no excuse. Because Mordecai was in full power. And Mordecai still didn't bow down. With all the power, now remember, the Persians and the Medes are the ones that gave him that power. They're the ones that rose him in that power. He didn't give a damn that they brought him into that power. He loved the Most High more. To hell with that. Thanks for the check. That's what the ball players are supposed to be, which is what they were trying to do until they got shut off. They were trying to do the same thing, trying to stand up against this being done to us. Every brother's life is precious. We deep in our sins in this empire. But all you got to do is look at the brothers who left their sins and came into the truth. That tells tells you how precious every brother and sister is. If you could be out there in the world committing all kinds of heinous acts, which many of us did, and then find the Most High and the truth, come out of the world, come into the truth, and then become amazing in the truth and waking brothers up, bringing brothers out of darkness, changing brothers' lives, getting brothers to stand with you. If you could do that, man, how valuable are you to the Most High? He said, I will make a man more precious than fine gold. That's what the Lord said. Which means you starting out, you ain't fine gold. But boy, the Most High, with all his power, take you out of that filthy, vile life that you've been living and pull you up out of that vile, disgusting place that you were in and turn you around. I mean, that's only a God could do that. And turn you around by force to bring you away from yourself, man. Make you a brand new cat. Make your goals different. Make your agenda different. Make your spirit different. That's why you come into this truth, man. Be single-minded. Save lives. Single-minded. Waking up brothers and sisters. Single-minded. Standing on the scriptures, man. Scriptures, our Constitution. Single-minded. The Lord do that with you out. That's a miracle. We always want to. You want to see a miracle? Look around you. You're a goddamn miracle. You're a goddamn miracle. Excuse my French for what is happening with us. And that is more valuable than anything. That is more valuable. And Mordecai was that type of brother. Even though he accomplished all that and they continually turned against him. Keep going. Go ahead. I know we got a little time now. Let's go down. Go ahead.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 4. Now it came to pass when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them.
They went to him daily. Man, don't you know you could get fired, man? Man, you got a big job, man. Look at all the money you making. Man, they gonna get rid of you, man. You know, people talking about you, man. You know, man, they gonna take that contract from you. They gonna do this, they gonna do that. Daily coming to him. Think about your family, man. Think about them. They gonna pay your bills. Come on, man. Daily coming to Mordecai, trying to get him in against the Most High. Then against these scriptures, man. That's why I love warriors, man. I love, you come up in here, you got to be a warrior up in here. I love warriors. Right? I just want to be around, talk to them. I want to hear them. I just want to hear the conversations, man. What they want to battle, what they taking over, what they doing, how they doing it, what they want to do. I want to hear all that all day, all the time. I just want to hear everybody's story that comes to truth. I just want to hear. You don't know. You wonder why I'm asking you. I'm asking you because I'm getting ready. I'm going to eat off of that story. That story you about to tell me, I'm going to be motivated to go for it. What the hell you not know that? Because your story, how you came in here, how you woke up, how you turned your life around, how you became strong, how you stood out there on that morning. You understand? And forget about it if I saw you when you first came in, and then I ain't seen you for a while, and then I come back and I see you later. Oh, you be transformed. You be transformed. Right wrong, you be transformed. And brother, that's one of the greatest gifts to see in this truth. It's one of the greatest gifts to see in this truth. See brothers do that. I love to see it. I love it. Because brother, warriors change things. That's what we're kind of so warriors. Listen, only warriors can break the system. We can't not break school systems. You can't lead systems. You can't lead systems double-minded. You cannot lead them. You destroy them and you will destroy yourself. You must fight for strength in this truth. You have to. You may not have come in here strong. Many of us have not. But you're going to be strong once you come up in it. Scripture say, let the weak say, I am strong. You weak, say you strong. Say it every day. Get up every morning and say, I'm strong. If you strong, get up and say, I'm strong every morning.
And watch the Lord raise you up out of that. Right, which it should be in all our worship, our first love in society. You understand? How Christ rolled. When God
Grab the last, the second row, not the bottom row, bottom row, third.
you a fisher of men. Show you how this is done. Went, dragged them off of the fishing boats, man, and got them up in there with him.
Yeah,
Locked in and broke the scriptures down and got them on the streets. Before you know it, brother, they had all Jerusalem turned upside down. You gonna do the same in your city. You gonna turn them upside down in your city. Give me some more.
And they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand.
Right. So let's go down. Let's plot on this now. Let's go see how we gonna plot on this.
Put in a little shot.
For he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did it reverence, it was Haman full of wrath.
Imagine that. Once again, number one under the king in full power. And still, one dude won't bow to him. One cat won't worship him like he's a god and not two. One dude. It cost him the entire kingdom. It cost him everything that he wanted in hand. And it should for every heathen to turn around and say, we deserve to be enslaved. What did Barbara Bush say when Hurricane Katrina came? Remember when we was in the stadium? Raping's going on. Brothers cutting them.
Yeah.
Chair turning it into a toilet. What is Barbara Bush said? Those who put your hand to a mess.
I guess we're gonna.
Better off now or
It was on that same tip. She turned around and said, this is what they're used to anyway. That's what Mama Bush said. That was when the son was in office, but it was his mama that made the statement. He said, this is what they used to anyway. In other words, you used to this. You used to live in this horrible condition. So it's not a big deal. Not a big deal. Go ahead.
Look at Esther chapter 3, verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
He's so mad that one cat wouldn't worship him. He wanted to kill this brother. This heavy brother that came into captivity. Remember, came into the Persian and Median Empire under captivity. He was brought from Jerusalem with the captives. His people brought into the Persian Empire. And in that slavery, like we always do, rose up out the ground and became renowned. The Edomites know that. That's why they keep our records. That's why every time you look around, they got some movie about some black person that invented something. I didn't see the movie, but I was gonna go back and take me a while to watch black movies. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go back. I want to go back and watch that movie and assess that they said worked on NASA. Yeah, I heard that that's a true story. Them sisters got them. What's it called? Oh, I know what you call them. Hidden figures. Right. Perfect name. Sisters did some amazing. I heard scientific, mathematical work. Got them masters up to the moon. And of course, you only hearing about it now. 50 years later, now you're hearing about it. And so many other things we did. We always rose to the top. And we would never appreciate it. That's what happened in Egypt. We brought Egypt out of hell. When you go back and check the Egyptian records, you want to hear something crazy? When we were battling with the Egyptians and we all moved back up into Goshen, right before we left out of Egypt, we had to move up into Goshen because the Egyptians was going off and the Lord was plaguing the hell out of the Egyptians. So we moved up into Goshen, which he called today Cairo, like right outside of Cairo, by the river, by where the rivers meet. That's where Goshen was. So now we up in Goshen, they down in the rest of Egypt. Brother, do you know they had to go find Israelites that were living in Libya and bring them into Egypt because these bastards people did not know how to fix the wheels on their chariots when they broke. We were the ones that made and built the wheels for them. That's right. They'll never say that, just like we did everything in this case. Do you know, I heard black men made the engine for that show. I heard black people put that together. And then it had gold, and they got gold in it, gold electronics and all that. I don't know how much of the stuff. I know the story, that part of the story is true. But there's more to the story than I just got to look into. We've done that with everything. And so we did it with this kid. I don't want to run on time, but I do want to bring it out in context. That's what kind of brother Mordecai is. That's the kind of brother every brother is here. I'm amazed. The brothers tell me the life they was living, and then I see what they doing in the truth. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters. I'm amazed at what becomes of them when you come out of the darkness of this empire. Mordecai was a brother in that captivity, man. Like rose to the top. He wanted to do the role. He would have thought he was just a general.
They had shown them the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of even the people of Mordecai.
Like he wasn't just mad at Mordecai. Since Mordecai ain't out, let's kill all of this. Let's wipe them all out. Brother, that's what the Pharaoh of Egypt said. You know how many times that's been said about us? You think that they not thinking that in this kingdom? They ain't saying to themselves millions of dollars because we might have they've better not think too hard. Most times, he said, well, no, you're not a mathematician. He's trying to destroy the that's always on Stephen's mind. Whose wife he got a boy coronavirus shut down. I didn't think nothing would shut down the force. I didn't think nothing on this earth would shut down that force. Abortion right after Obama passed in the Obama law that your health care would pay for the murder of that baby. Your health care would pay for the murder of that baby. They had just passed that law for a short while ago.
Esther chapter 3 verse 7. And the first month, that is the 12th to be sun, and the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast her, that is the lot before Haman, from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month. That is the month of my God. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people and all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Bring out what he wants. Podcast whatever he wanted to do. His vanity was his number one desire. All he could have built, all he could have done with all the wealth and power that he had. What was so important to him more than anything? To go get these Jews because Mordecai wouldn't bow down. Mordecai wouldn't bow down and give me his reverence. So you know what? No problem. I'll kill all these people. What a people. What a beast. What a something not worthy to be worthy. That scripture is so right when it says, I see servants riding on horses and princes walking on the ground. It's so right. It's so wrong that we serve them. It's so wrong that they have the preeminence over us. It's so wrong for them to decide our lives and the way we live. It's so wrong. When if it was reversed, there'd be more mercy from us. If it was reversed, sadly to say, we'd have to fight our own because our own would say, no, stop killing the Edomites. In our kingdom, with them as our servants, even with the history that they have against us, you start shooting them in the streets like we did, like they do to us. And I guarantee you, in our kingdom,
Black people be like, hold up, man, y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop shooting these Edomites, man, every time you pull over in the car. This ain't necessary. We be trying to pass laws to make sure that they didn't get killed in slavery.
No,
That's what we really do. Such a unworthy bunch of heathens that we have to serve, man. Such a selfish, disgusting bunch of people. You can have people in slavery without being an animal. Give me that scripture, y'all, where the Lord said he was wroth with his people, but you had furthered it. Y'all know the one? Shows we was in slavery. You got it, cute? Read it. This didn't have to be this bad. You didn't have to take us to the brink of losing our mind. You didn't have to wipe us out. I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching one of the documentaries on the prison system, how the prison system. And do you know that these bastards, do you know that since the internet came into play, that they have had the ability to do two things? Because of the internet, they have the ability to give prisoners conjugal visits and organize it and have their families pay for it through the internet. For those of you that may not know what conjugal visits are, that's when a prisoner has time to spend with his wife so that he can be with her and all that, like private. For those of you that may not know, that they had the ability to do that. And you want to hear something that's even worse? They have the ability through the internet to have male prisoners be able to communicate with female prisoners to start relationships if they wanted to, and they refuse to allow those brothers to do it. Brothers in them prisons, man, raping other brothers, pushing homosexuality. You understand? Somebody put a video out and said, if you in prison and you on the yard, and there's those who's been locked up, I don't even want to tell the story. It's too hard. I'm not even going to tell the story. It's hard. I'm not even going to tell the story. But anyway, the point is that they could have done this and can do it right now. Could do it right now and could relieve the stress and the destruction of so many brothers. Now, if they could do that with that, you're not going to tell me they could do 10 times more than that. And they went to one of them Scandinavian countries. They went to one of them Scandinavian countries out and showed, I think it was Denmark or one. And brother, they showed the prison in Denmark. Brother, the prisoners is in Denmark like they at home and going to work every day. Right. They got all single cells. They get up every morning. The guards greet them like, hey, good morning, how you doing? And they, interacting like regular people. They go to work, make a regular salary like anybody else. They go to work in whatever division they working with and get a regular salary, pay child support, send money home, buy things that they need in their room or they sell or whatever, but still locked up and pay restitution to victims that they harm through their paycheck. All of that while in prison. That's why they say this is one of the worst. This kingdom is one of the worst prisons in the world. Like all for man's selfishness, all defeated selfishness. You telling me it was unfair for the Most High to have a chosen people? That was unfair. Bring it on. Give us all the power over the whole earth. I can't wait till the day when the UPK start buying these prisons. I can't wait for that day. Damn, buying the football team. Buy me some of these prisons. That's what I want. I can't wait till you got UPK prison. Everybody in there gonna get rehabilitated. They're gonna eat a good meal. Damn right. I cannot wait. Okay? But even before we get to that though, we gonna get to these homeless shelters. Oh, I'm gonna fulfill that dream. Boy, y'all put me in the box. Gonna be a UPK homeless shelter all over this country and outside the country. You okay? Big shout out to Captain Malquad. Captain Malquad worked with one of those. Whoever else worked with one, you got to get employed. Because, brother, the first chance I get, we're going to take over these homeless shelters, man, and really fix these people. Because our brothers and sisters that's in there are in some of the most horrible conditions in the world. And
here's what's so amazing. Don't cry for them. Don't cry for them. Why? Because they got the UPK. And guess what? Many of us in here were homeless. Many of us came out of that homeless shelter. Had nowhere to go. You understand? Came in here, had to come to class from the damn shelter. You understand? Had to work that thing every, coming back and forth. Had to be filled with the Spirit of the Lord in these classes up in here. And came up out that shelter. Might have had to go to the barracks first. Then came out the barracks. Got back on their feet. You looking for Esau to get you back on the freaking and forget about the churches. We just read last week they stole how much was it? 80 billion or something? How much is 800 billion? Don't never forget that. 800 billion. They stole. We spent 14 billion on Valentine's. How much was that? Did I get that number right? 14 billion? Is that the number I said earlier? 14 billion on Valentine's Day. Brother, I want the homeless shelter. I want all these brothers and sisters that's in these shelters to get real care, real psychological help, real humanitarian help. You understand? We're going to park all of them in front of General Muhammad now. Be like, go park all over there. All the brothers that go over there and break it down and fix them. Brother, get fervent, man. That's why this Passover, we renewing our vows. Our oaths. We renewing our oath with the Most High. You understand? We renewing our oath. All things that went on in the past, they done that. Whatever your record was in the past, whatever your shortcomings was in the past, whatever. We going to this Passover. We coming out of this Passover brand new spanking babies. And then you're going to decide what it is you want to do for the Most High and how fervent you want to do it. And you won't be hindered because now we got a nation that can fix everything. So you ain't got no excuse or no reason to fall back. Fall in. Fall in deep on this work. And that's what we do in this Passover. And I pray everybody is there. I pray you get there. I pray you get to enjoy it, see it, experience it, love it, everything. So this is the greatest thing on earth that's going on right here. What's going on in this room right here, this ain't regular. If you come up in here like you in some old regular seminar, you slip it. You sleep and slip. This ain't no regular seminar. The Lord brought you in here for a special reason. Let's go on. Come on. You know I'll talk all right.
Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 6. I was wroth with my people.
He was angry with us. And rightfully so. He's so rebellious against people. Why I gotta do that? Why we gotta follow that law? Why y'all doing that? Why you this? Why? I hate that word why. Why this? Why that? Because the Lord said so. Constantly fighting against it. And because of it, he got angry with us. He's our Father. He got a right to be angry with us and a right to punish ourselves for what we do. And that's what, come on.
I have polluted my inheritance.
Right. He let us fall into our wickedness. He let us go. You want to be hard-headed? Sure enough, the heathen taught our heads. The heathen shoved every god down our throat, every heathenistic custom down our throat, destroyed every family, made a homo out of every man, made a bull dagger out of every woman. I watched the season of Olympic Games. That bobsledge, I think, steroided up broads. See them broads? Them broads got tic-tac videos, bro, with looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I want to go there and whoop the bitch ass myself. So, they on TikTok. I mean, flexing like Arnold. Legs, thighs, triple muscled up, full of steroids, doing that goddamn bobsled for a gambler and the damn trophy. A little funny. You see that trophy they giving them over there? What a joke. They don't even give them the gold medal before. They mimic the actual gold that they used to get. They mimic it with a medal. Now they don't even give you a medal. It's a joke. It's a joke. Totally irresponsible use for what a woman is so greatly capable of. Instead, you gonna make her greatest thing to be battling for, to have muscles, to run a bobsled. That's gonna be her greatest gift in life. But she can do so much more. Like they played us, man. Played us so well. Played us right out of our role as men and women. Like my goodness, in our kingdom, brother, like we always read about. In our kingdom, brothers, Jacob's sons went and killed people they raped against their fathers or wrongfully against his order. They went and slayed their pastors. That's how precious our sisters was in a right zone to. Because look what they are able to do. What the hell we gonna let them teach our sisters to go pump steroids and lose all their feminine traits just so they can push a bobsled down a sliver of ice to get a panda bear at the end? It is a joke. It's like a comedy, sir. I'm watching this and hey, the gold medalist so-and-so and such and such. I'm like,
I agree with like that thing off
a panda bear. Also, white people could go. You did a great job. You can teach other sisters that athletics is more important. The great gift they were given from the Most High. Back in the day, that's why they had to cut us off. Because back in the day, the average black woman would give you 10 soldiers. Good night. Broke even 5 and 5. She might give you 5 soldiers and 5 sisters. Them 5 sisters give you 5 more soldiers. You got 25 soldiers. You telling me that ain't nice? You get 25 soldiers in one generation. That's a bad difference.
Both my eyes just
like you telling me that's like now you need to go better. You should like all the moms who got daughters with all them children and got all them soldiers, get her. You understand? Get her.
Can you see the difference?
Like my goodness, man. Give her, go pick up her groceries from the damn food.
2 weeks.
I go fix her damn car. Go get that tire fixed. Make sure she got a stand in that damn trunk. Clean up that damn yard for us. You celebrate some broad pump steroids and look like a man. Pushing his bombs on ice. Something that children do. Push the sled on ice. You give up and they fly all the way to where they have these games at China. You fly all the way to China. Push a box.
Yeah, that's what I know.
It's the greatest thing. Brother, we did not follow the lead.
Side effects, is the side effects for one of the medications.
That's unacceptable behavior. And when you start to peel back this world, then you, right or wrong, you begin to see this is some dumb nonsense. This is some backward ass living. It's a backward ass life. And here's the scary, frightening part. As this world starts to come apart, our people are not prepared because we in that backwards world, which is, for those of us that have grown in this truth and become leaders in this truth, and many of you in here, I know that that's a very uncomfortable feeling. It's like, what would happen when it goes south? The panda bear gonna help us? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Like, it makes us a little like, damn. And especially if you don't build up ISUPK with the spirit of your job is to save these lives. I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm worried. And I'm going to tell you what I'm worried about. Because I know it's coming. I'm worried when the masses come in here. I'm worried because are we able? Are we prepared? Can we handle the stress of it? When they come in and all these cities, man, when they call for help, which we must answer. We ain't got a choice. The churches can lock the door. No Basket Edomites in Houston during the hurricane, they can lock the damn door. We can't. We got to answer the call. It's our job. Even on time, we must answer that call.
see where it's like.
Hey,
Where is this shit about to sprout now?
What will happen when we
I was
answer?
just getting my hair braided normally with
We
cornrows and
gonna
stuff.
Straight back.
I getting it designed.
Yeah, Mister, we gonna do it. Because it's our job, and it's our kingdom. and
Hey,
it
tired,
is
look,
everything.
Drake goes drip back on time about
Go ahead,
that.
And give it them into thy hand. Thou didst show them no mercy.
You showed us no mercy. We didn't receive mercy yet. They showed us no mercy. Treated us like everything that happened to us was our own fault. Go ahead.
Right.
Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
You the ancient, man. You the ancient rulers of this world. And the Lord said, what? Read that part again.
Hast thou very heavily laid thy upon the ancient hast thou very hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
They laid the yoke on the ancient youth. They had heavily laid the yoke. Laid a yoke on you, man, that was heavy. Heavy.
I just want
White
a hand-me-down garment from the jungle.
That yoke.
Get a hand-me-down.
You hear me? I be saying something on my Facebook. I'm like, damn.
I'm
just in the heart start saying that
All right,
shit.
let's get back to this.
Look. Little princess though, she had a whole hood. Our mamas or daddies.
The book of Esther, chapter 3 and verse 4. Look, verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Mordecai sought to destroy all the Jews.
I don't want people with too many interruptions, but I gotta mention this. Like, you should examine that. You should examine that verse right there, because that verse is an insight to the mindset of a heathen. And if you forget this, you are a fool. Read it again.
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone. Go ahead. For they had chosen him, the people of Mordecai.
Go ahead. Listen,
Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom.
that's how heathens live. They never want to forget you black. Ever. They never want to forget that you Latino. They look at you through the lens of a heathen, which means they look at you through the lens of who you are. You sitting up there trying to speak good English, put on a suit and tie, trying to chum up to them, shoot the ball real good, become a good actor, all these things, and you think that means that they're going to change. Michael Jordan thought that was dumbass. He thought that was going to make them think you different. They see you through the lens of who you are. When they hate you, they hate your people. So thinking that they think you're different is you blind. You are blind. But he was looking at Mordecai and his people and sought to destroy his people. And that's what all the people do. They all look at us like yes, go ahead, now. So what? So what? We might as well be who we are. We might as well be who we are.
Okay,
Right?
I
Be
got
something
it.
else.
I think if
Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of the rest, even the people of Mordecai.
But you get out of here, money, man?
In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Arrest, they cast Purim, that is the lot before Haman, the same day, amongst the month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Arrest, there is a certain people scattered abroad
Get the chicken.
and
Get
dispersed
the chicken.
among all the people
When you get done,
and all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people.
Brother, we're different than everybody. And we are. And we are. Which is why all their gods and their religions are all steering us to take us away from us.
Right.
There is a place for selfishness. I've said this before. I don't know if people understood. righteousness does belong and fits well and belongs in his seat. And that place is your nation.
Don't touch it.
You're supposed to be selfish over your nation. You're supposed to be selfish over your culture and identity because they always want to take it away. Come on now, give me more.
But you ain't
Right.
got to.
And their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's law.
Right. Not us. Right here in America. We different than every heathen comes here. None of them are like us.
Right.
We totally different.
We solid.
The Lord knows we don't keep none of the king's law. We ain't building prisons every minute for no reason. We don't keep none of the king's law in this kingdom. Go ahead.
Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer this.
And this is always the conclusion on us. The conclusion on us in every empire at some point is genocide. Genocide, genocide, genocide. Genocide through abortion, genocide through war, genocide somewhere along the line from the time we were in Egypt right on up to today. You live in a biblical story right now. Why? Which is why you gotta make a
My plate is
conscious
up there on
decision.
the table.
You gotta make a conscious decision to do the things these brothers and sisters do. You can't just go along with what's happening around you. You yourself gotta make a conscious decision to be like these brothers and sisters read about. But you read about them because they were the ones that knew and escaped the captivity of this empire. So you're to do the same thing. You're to read and learn and become like them. You gotta become like Mordecai. And especially if you come up in power, like the Michael Jordans of this world. And what's the main one, other one that's famous now? LeBron James. Brothers like that. They gotta become more like that. They gotta become this, especially the brothers and sisters. You gotta become that. Come on, let's go.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
You missed out on the first round.
Get it in. They're useless to us. That's what they say. Isn't that what they say? They in the ghettos. They don't follow the laws. They always try to get us to follow rules. Let's get rid of them. That's what Donald Trump was trying to do. Like he got rid of all the Benjamites, got rid of all the Israelites, got rid of all of the Latino tribes. He was doing exactly what we read about right here is biblical. And I don't know about you. I've been in here quite a little while. And I still read these stories, man, and look at our life around us today. And I cannot believe I'm reading America today. I cannot believe that I am in Esther, the 3rd chapter, reading about America right now. And if you can't see that, you need work. And if you can see it, you are blessed from the Most High because you are seeing the world you're living in from the Lord's perspective, which allows you to make decisions that are completely in favor of the Most High. And the Lord is loves. Like we read about Mordecai thousands of years later, and Esther, because the Lord loves him. And if we make those decisions today, like they did, boy, and you know, the Most High, you know, in some respects, it's just like your manager at work. You go to the manager at work to look. I need to take a day off. It's really up to him.
Make
He's
sure
like,
you get
no,
on her,
you
please.
got to work. We need you. Well, you say take a day off. Guess what? The same goes for you and your kingdom.
I got it.
Most
I
High
just
can
want
say,
you
we
to.
can look down and say, nah, they ain't got to work. Let them stay there a little bit longer. Or he could turn around and say, man, look how they getting down for me. Man, go on down there for freedom. What does the scripture say? Somebody help me with Revelation. Revelation, where the Lord said something to the effect of, where it said that the angels said, Lord, how long? Y'all know the one I'm talking about? It's in Revelation, where they go to the Most High and they say, how long shall you suffer it? Give me that scripture, please, y'all. Oh, I love this scripture. This scripture, man, is letting you know the Lord can decide. He can decide
to change the game. Matter of fact, he did decide to change the game. What scripture? Revelation 6 and 10.
Oh,
Here?
yeah, go out.
Okay, I'm about to read. Let me make this one point. He did change the game. Who can help me out? How did he change the game in terms of how captivity hit?
Hey, listen, I feel your
You
pain.
just got to quote it. You ain't got no exact. Come on, you got to know. Right? Yeah, true, but he said something. I don't want to give it to you. Anybody? Maybe I'm not giving you enough. Go ahead, bro. That's part of it, but that's not what he said. It lets you know change. Go ahead, General. Thank you. Y'all had to take the general. Get it over here. I'm supposed to get it for him, man. Look, he shortened the time. He shortened the time. Which means he changed the game. Man, let's convince him. Let's convince him to shorten the time.
I see the pain.
Let's change the game. We the chosen. Okay? The scripture said, the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. Say it not? Yes, it does. So, wait, you being a righteous man, turned your life around, came to the truth, brothers and sisters. You praying to the Most High, it availeth much. He gets things done in heaven. You can't go up there and knock on nobody's door. Mikey, I told you this problem we got up there. You can't do that. But you can pray, and it availeth much. And us convincing the Most High, it avail much. Read it for me. What the go?
Revelation chapter 6 and verse 10. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, doest thou not judge and avenge our blood on them?
They questioned the Most High. How long, O Lord? How long? Or you would like to
Tomorrow be perfect.
how long will you go and avenge our brothers? That's you, which is the Lord's way. You got both? Go ahead.
That dwell on the earth.
Dwell on his earth.
Nigga, don't be mad dog when you go nigga.
Russia,
You go fight right now.
you like, you got no brown, you so Done? Let's get back to it. Almost done. 5 minutes. We might have to jump to the Broadway. Let's keep going. I'll Jeremiah find for me. When we get to the part where the Lord turned it around with Mordecai. Let's go.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, The silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as seemeth good to thee. Verse 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenant.
Jump to the 4th chapter, 1st verse. Run 2 verses. Go ahead. So now we know what's happening basically in the story of this day that we celebrate. This is why we celebrate this day. It's so right to celebrate this day. It's so right to look at these heathens the way we do. You understand? Because these heathens came together to wipe us out because one man would not be worshipped. So all of Israel was to lose their lives over one man not being worshipped again. And for the righteous men that understood this was an abomination. But for everybody else who worshiped kings, it was like, well, you should worship him. You should recognize him. You should reverence him. He is the number one under the king. Mordecai was way
I see
better.
everything. When I go to the range, I shoot out my left eye.
Esther
So,
chapter 4
I ain't
verse
missing
1.
a beat.
When Mordecai perceived all that was done,
Ain't your right,
Mordecai
my
rent his clothes.
Want to try it out?
You coming to wipe out our nation? You come to destroy us? The worst thing in the world. You on crack? Our people's on crack in every city? Tear your goddamn clothes. They shooting us in the street? Tear your goddamn
right.
Bust out this shit.
They incarcerating us in jail, coming out with new drugs, cutting us off of jobs, wiping out our businesses, promoting all kind of evil and lust, setting up abortion clinics, tear your goddamn clothes.
That's right.
That's what a man of God would do.
Hey, calm down. You getting me hurt too, little nigga.
And sisters. That's what happens when you care for you and your nation and know the value it is because they're the only one with a connection to God. That's right.
That's right.
Tear your clothes for the evil that will be brought upon them, not for the evil that was brought upon yourself. Right. And what strength did it have to take?
Boy, I never heard it like that.
Remember, this started because he would not bow to hate. Now he come back and say, I got a decree, I'm gonna kill all your people. The average brother would bow to hate. The average brother would say, go ahead, baby, you got it. You don't kill my I'm bow to that. That's what the average man would do. But boy, the Lord loves Mordecai. And Esther. Boy, he had something in store for him. Boy, he was going to show Israel that he was with this nation. And that a man should trust in him regardless of what's in front of him. Regardless of what these heathens do. He should prefer the Most High his nation above all. That's what he was going to show.
What's that funny?
He was going to show him that the Most High is a
Well, we trying to set me up for that,
I'm a
though.
man of war. He like to beat. He love a goddamn beat. That is his room to get it in. You know what I'm saying?
Check his pockets. No, I'm just
Y'all two guys know. Y'all, this become too quiet too long. Y'all got a problem. You gonna find some trouble. And that's what he loved. Let's go. Oh God, going a little bit over, y'all. Give me a few ticks over, and we done. All right, y'all gotta get some pillows in there for these sisters. They got to do with y'all. Get some pillows in there. All I had to see was
And put on sackcloth.
y'all got it good. We was back at One West up in New York in that little hot room with no air conditioning. The seats were hardcore wood. Nothing but wood. 30 minutes in, brother. Shit, you was done. I still ain't got my Go ahead.
And put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out in the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and a bitter cry.
That's a man of God. He cried bitterly for his nation. Ripped his clothes. That's supposed to be you. If it ain't you, it better become you.
Right.
You better become him. Right. Because your nation needed it, because believe you me, these bastards to feed themselves, they'll do whatever it takes to destroy you.
I thought it was crazy.
And that's why Purim is so more important to us than a goddamn Valentine's Day, than a box of goddamn chocolates.
And came even before the king's gate, where none might enter into the king's gate, clothed with sackcloth. Verse 3. And in every province, whethersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting, and weeping, and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. They knew then, the game was up. All the lust and the evil and the wickedness and the drug dealing and the murdering, it'll all stop when they get ready to fight with them. Everybody was putting on sackcloth and throat. They knew finally the people that they fought so hard for so many years to love and to join and to be in a melting pot with, and finally fully turned on them. That's what they were learning about Trump. If Trump had got another turn, oh, everybody would have been in the truth then. We would have had no more room. We'd have had camp with class would have been in the park. Y'all been in the park? Yeah. Y'all got tents? Yeah, you got tents. Y'all got brothers? Yeah, we got brothers. Get your friends. All right. We'll have Wi-Fi get to the fans for those of you got people in the van. That's where camp would be. And going to be, because it's going to come around again. It's not him, it'll be somebody else. Go ahead. Got on the time. Verse 4. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai.
Raiment to clothe Mordecai. She's up there in power also, up under the king. And hear about this righteous brother Mordecai and how he's sad over what's about to happen in Israel. Say, man, put a robe on that man. Take care of that man. Young man, I thank you for the sisters in the ISUPK.
That's right. That's right.
Put a cloak on these brothers coming out of the pit of hell, trying their best to become, not only to become men of God, but also to wake up other brothers to make them become men of God. A task that is damn near inhuman to do in this type of kingdom and in this time. Yet they standing to do it, and those of you sisters who can see it enough to put a cloak on them, you are gold before the eyes of the Most High. I can't say it enough times. It was an amazing thing. Go ahead, y'all bear with me a little longer, all right? Come on.
And to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not.
He wouldn't even receive it. I don't want no gifts. Give me nothing nice. Stay in this mud, man, and deal with this hell that's happening to us. I'm okay. Listen, he's so right. He crying on to God. He ain't going and talking to Haman. He ain't talking to the king. He ain't none of that. He going to the Most High. He don't want no gifts, no nothing. He dealing with the Most High. He want an answer from the empire of God. That's the answer he wants. He's right to ask for it. Right to ask for it, and he's right to desire it. And brother, that should be in us. That should be what you made of. Don't be lukewarm. Lord said, I cast you out of my mouth. You to be fervent and hot when it comes to this, especially in this time. You don't need no faith to be hot. You see it in front of your eyes. Christ said, just as you know that the rain is coming, so shall the kingdom of heaven be. Not afraid. You don't need none of that. Calm down. It's a lot, y'all. I start tripping and they don't tell me after you go over the top, you know. It's a lot. I get passionate about what we do. You understand? I am moved with this work. Like this is the job of the greatest superheroes on the earth. We're going to be read about in these records forever and ever and ever. Just like these records are here now, we're going to be read about in these records forever. Go ahead now.
That's great.
You got to kill him up in here. We should be first. You need to be that way because you got to convince the naysayers, man. You got to convince your brothers and sisters who have heard so many lies and hustle, who have been gamed up so much, who've been played out so much by so many heathens. You trying to get through to them, brother. They done heard it all and really don't want to hear no more. So you need to really bring your A game, man. When you come to wake up these tribes. And the UPK, all you camps out there, you've been bringing your A game. You've been bringing your A game. Okay, let's go. Come on. I'm all over the time, man. Give me about 5 more, y'all. Lord allow. Come on.
Verse 5. Then called Esther for Hatak, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave them the commandment to Mordecai to know what it was and why it was. So it touched the forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasury for the Jews to destroy them. Verse 8. Also he gave them the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go unto the king to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people. Verse 9. And the judge came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hatak, and gave him the commandment unto Mordecai.
I gotta make one quick point. Y'all see what happened right here? You see the value of our sisters in this? You understand? Can I be frank? Fuck Valentine's Day. This was really this so-called Valentine's Day, is so in line, opposite against this traditional holiday of ours called Purim. Like, this is so opposite, because here our nation is about to be destroyed, and Mordecai, he got to use whatever resources he got to wield the sword of the Most High. And he got Esther right up there in the queen's chamber. And he steps to her and says, what? Read that real quick one more time.
Come. And the judge came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hatak, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai.
Wait, read the 8th verse. Read the 8th verse. Y'all bear with me, because brother, when he laid a burden on Esther, which is why, as a sister in the truth, the sisters coming into this truth, and the sisters that's already here, you got to strengthen sisters, man. You got to strengthen yourself, and you got to strengthen sisters. Sometimes it can be hard with all that's going on in the world, and brothers got to strengthen sisters, man. I learned this in the UPK in here with y'all. I learned that if a man be strong, he could raise up sisters that become strong. And you never know what the Lord might call on you to do. This is what happened right here. And this sister Esther could have folded, but she stood strong in such a precarious situation. Read that 8th verse, right? Fast and quick.
Oh God. Esther chapter 4 and verse 8. Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther.
He had sent this down to Esther to show her what they get ready to do to her. Go ahead.
And to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go into the king to make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people.
You hear that? He said her to go come step to the king. That's what Michelle Obama should have been doing up there with that heathen. This is what Mordecai sent her to do. Go to that heathen, man, and tell that heathen, man, don't kill your people. Stop that heathen. Convince that heathen not to do what he set out to do because of the vanity of this other heathen. Go ahead. Now if you need to jump down. Okay? When they brought it all back, well, I just want to get Esther's words if I could.
The book of Esther chapter 4 and verse 15.
I think you got to go to 11.
Verse 11. All the king's servants and the people of the king's province do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come into the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death.
So if you came into the king's chamber and you wasn't called to come into the king's chamber, you just went up in there, then if that king, that the law was that king would kill you. You would get put to death. Unless the king put out his scepter. And if he put out his scepter, then you was good. But if he didn't put that scepter out and you went up into that chamber, you got put to death. So Mordecai was, in essence, telling Esther, you're going to go do something that could cost you your life. Boy, you got to be a strong sister to handle it. And you got to be a strong brother to raise up a sister to handle this. Can't be no weak brother to do this. It's better you be like Paul and have no one. Otherwise, you better be strong to raise up a sister that can walk up there to do it. Finish reading that verse so you can see what she said.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come in unto the king these 30 days.
He said, so I haven't been called to come in. So if you send me up in there, I could get killed by you sending me up in there. Let's see Mordecai handle this week. This is such a lesson of manhood and womanhood. Instead of that damn Valentine's Day, let's see how Mordecai handled the weight of this stress. Come on now.
God, verse 12. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther.
This 13th verse out. This here, this takes me home. This right here. This 13th verse right here takes me to the game. Read it.
Think not with thyself.
This is bad news. The kingdom fallen. He said, think not to thyself. Don't save your life. Esther, go ahead and die if you have to for this kingdom. Go ahead.
That thou shalt escape in the king's house.
Don't think you're going to get away if you don't stand up because you part of the king's house. They're going to kill you.
Well, homie, tripping.
So true.
Get his mouth off
They
that
raised in
bitch.
that damn capital on January 6th. You think they will run up and kill black people over some nonsense they came up with over their own vanity? That's what their hatred for us is. They have wiped us out as a people. Why they hate us so much? Because their vanity. They can't get worshipped enough. We ain't low enough on the ground. We ain't poor enough. We ain't standing on the side of the road eating crumbs saying,
So what's that gonna do? What you crying gonna do?
we ain't begging like a stray dog. I don't know. I think it's a propaganda against me. Because every 5 minutes I get a commercial about the ISUPK and the dog. I don't know what's going on. I'm about to cancel my case. I said he must be trying to soften me up. Every 5 minutes, here comes the ASPCA commercial. I said, what's going on? I said, damn them dogs. And I don't know why they keep, every 5 minutes. Anyway, my point is this. Like, she had to have the heart. He had to have the strength to bring that peace. Come on.
More than all the Jews who have now altogether holding thy peace at this time. Then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
If you don't do it, then it's going to have to come from somewhere else. And it will, because the Lord Mordecai has faith. It will, because the Lord will do it. Come on.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this?
How do you know whether or not that's the reason you're here? Do you know why you're here? Why is it you got the truth and you in the ISUPK? Because you passed by the building? You don't know why you was brought here. So be ready to do the Lord's work regardless of what you see in front of you. Be ready to lose your life if necessary in this body. Because you don't know why you was called here. It's what Mordecai was trying to get her to see. And she was already seeing. Because she was already full. Remember, when you go back and read the early part of the story, Mordecai raised her up. So she was already raised up right in this truth to be able to stand for her people. And once again, this is what's the most important thing. It's why Christ died. He died to get us back to our nation. Give me the scripture, y'all. Not for this nation, from Caiaphas, not for this nation only, but for those that would be scattered abroad. You know the ones I want. Get that for me. Like, that's why he came. That's why we're here. We're here because he went and died to give us another chance. He came for that reason. That's why we work for him, for that same reason. Get it for me, y'all, real quick. I know I'm etching this time on. I'm almost done. I'm going. Matter of fact, I'm going to read 16 verse, and then go in the 5th chapter and get me where the Lord turned the thing around on Haman. I'm going to read that last part, we'll be done. All right? Finish that. Then you jump into the 16th verse. But give me the one I asked for first, y'all.
John chapter 11, verse 52.
Come on with it.
And not for that nation
Oh,
only.
no, go above.
Come with God.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Verse 51. And this spake he not of himself.
Not of himself.
This stupid idiot who was ruling over Israel under the Romans opened his big ass mouth trying to get Christ killed, but he didn't speak of his own, but brought forth a prophecy from the Lord, being the high priest at that time. Go ahead,
But being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation.
he spoke the truth because the Lord made it that Jesus would die for that nation. Come on.
And not for that nation only.
Not for that nation only. Go ahead.
But and also he should gather together in one of the children of God that was scattered abroad.
You want to know what your job is when you're at ISUPK? Read it again.
And not for that nation only, but that also we should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
What's your job in this nation? One more time.
And he should gather together in one the children of God that were scattered abroad.
Brother, that is the greatest job. It is the greatest job on earth. You done came in this room, and any of those rooms of those schools that's on here with us, and you are sitting in one of those chairs, you have been hired. You got a job. And you had better do that job because it's the greatest job on earth.
Yeah.
It is the job that they will read about for a million years ago. Just like they read about Greek mythology, they're going to open up that book 10,000 years from now and say, and he, the prophet that sung, even he not, spoke of these things, so and so and so and so. And they're going to sing that damn rap song 10,000 years. Whatever that crazy stuff y'all singing, they're going to sing it 10,000 years. They're going to sing it. Okay? And here's why it's so great. Not so much for your vanity to say, hey, I got a record, everybody going to know about it. But because every generation that comes into the earth is going to hear your story and read about your story, and it is going to keep them on the path of serving the Lord. It is going to be the guarantee that no heathen, no false god, no worshiping of the constellations and all of that ever rises up in the earth again to put us down. It'll be the end of it. Because you kept the record that we could all read later. The way they kept this record. And we're able to read it later. Everybody understand? Go ahead. Who we hold? We finished the other one, right? Done? Go ahead.
Come on,
Almost done, y'all. Come on.
Book of Esther, chapter 4, verse 16. Go, gather together all the Jews.
This is Esther talk. This is a heavy sister. Check her out. She said, go and do what?
Go and gather all the Jews that are present at Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days.
She said, fast for me. Fast for me. Go to the Most High that I do the job necessary to save our nation. Come on.
Night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go into the king, which is not according to the law.
I will go break the law and go to the king. I'm going to go see him, which is not according to the law.
Wow.
You hate her sister because of where she came from.
That's right.
Oh, shit.
Like Mordecai said, for do you know what purpose you were brought here for?
Staying out the way, man.
We're going to deliver every brother and
How you
sister.
been, man?
I want to defy the 2/3.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want the 2/3 to go. I want them too.
Yeah, with the whipping the shit out
I don't even want them to go. I want to convince the Most High to change it.
Why don't you stacking up some money, man? That's all good.
Go ahead.
And if I perish, I perish.
Come on, sister. If I die to deliver this nation, then I die. If I got to die, then they get delivered, then I die.
They're supposed to call me today. If they never called, I called them, they talk about their system down.
You get a sister to do that. She know at the end she gonna have drug money.
I've been trying to, get them time.
The sister will
I'm
carry
trying
it
to
to
get in
the
touch with my primary care doctor.
They'll bust a
Because
cap in a
they go on
second.
vacation.
They know at the end they will get their bag.
It's getting too much money.
Oh, this is gangster sister. They can handle their business. They ain't scared. They'll shoot a nigga in them and man over.
going into a walk-in
They do it for the
relationship.
nation with no gain.
She's gonna make me go to the clinic
And
tomorrow.
they do it for that.
Right.
Can they step to the highest power, sit up in the White House, drop it on
So she
without
told me to
hesitation.
take a walk-in, so I'm gonna go
for nothing?
see what's going
They
on.
put their life on the line,
I
strictly
actually got an eye
to
doctor
help
appointment
people
coming up.
who hate each other
Eye
every day.
doctor appointment, I gotta
Could
get
they
one
pull
next
that
year.
off?
So that's
I
actually
don't know.
next
I
month.
ain't met that too many that even
Probably
come
gonna give me some new glasses.
set in here.
I don't know what's going on with this.
Set in here. Now, can it be done? Yeah. Will it be done? Yes. Why?
What's
You turn back to the Most High.
You driving down the street.
Finish 16. Now, y'all give me the end
If I
before they
have to,
start stumbling me.
Come on.
I can see that handling.
Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
She went and did what Esther commanded him. Go ahead.
I can see.
Esther chapter 5 and verse 1.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Now,
difference
okay,
between
my
something
will
good
go.
and seeing it like this.
Jump to 7. All right. She went and did what she had to
This is
do.
worse.
Let's get the end part so we can wrap it up. Go ahead.
Esther verse. Esther chapter 7 and verse 1. So the king and Haman came to banquet with Esther the queen. And the king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition with Esther? And it shall be granted thee. What is thy request? And it shall be performed. Even to the half of the kingdom. And Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given thee and my petition, and my people at my request. For if we are sold, I and my people to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue. Although the enemy could not countervail the king's death.
Like this sister here went in deep. Read that again. Check out how she rose at the king. Say it again.
Oh God. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king.
She giving him his respect. Go ahead.
If it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Let me get my people at my request. Break off this decree you got to kill and destroy my people. Let's work some more chairs here, y'all. Work some chairs here. Come on, y'all. Pull up a little bit. Just a little bit. Pull up just a little bit. Somebody get y'all some chairs. Shalom for it. Y'all look some brother God. All right. Water, y'all. Water. We almost done, y'all. We almost there. All right, let's roll.
For we are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish. But if we have been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue.
You hear what she said? She went to the king and said, even if you would have sold us into slavery, I wouldn't even bring this to you. But they set us out to kill us for no reason. She was even going to accept us in slavery. Go ahead.
Although the enemy could not countervail the king's death. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he? Where is he? That durst presume in his heart to do so. And Esther said, the adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
This so powerful, selfish, lustful, angry heathen. And when you go back and check the story on that, now y'all can figure out what's going on. Haman was from the Macedonians, correct? Yes, he was. Right? Am I right on that, Q? You got me on it? That's right. He was a Macedonian, which means he was an Edomite. This Haman right here, he was in the Persian Empire, but this was a devil. This was a heathen. This was an Edomite. Sitting in their kingdom that rose to power in their kingdom and was going to use that power to wipe us out. Go ahead.
Verse 7. And the king arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath went into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
He went to Esther like, hold up, Esther, let's not go too far. It's not, went just like a heathen do. Come on.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
He got so weak. The heathen got so weak, he collapsed on the bed that Esther was sitting on. Right as the king came in and said, you gonna take her too? What you want? Like that was the most guy. Come to get these people. And listen, and did it. The Lord took them out with a woman. He took them with no respect, with no honor. He destroyed his people and his people. Go ahead, and the Persian Empire is here no more. Greeks came and took that over. And killed them all off and moved into their area. Go ahead,
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Habakkuk, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standing in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang them thereon.
He had gallows set up for Mordecai and his men. But the Most High could deliver a righteous man out of evil and could deliver a nation regardless of what it looks like in front of them. This is an amazingly powerful empire with all kinds of tools in their toolbox. They are not the Lord said in Rome, for this reason have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee. He raised this empire up with all of his glory just to show them the Most High is to be worshipped in this earth. Come on, get me out of here.
Verse 10. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Brothers, sisters, I want to thank all the students that came in here. This tonight, everybody, let's come together and renew our oath before the Most High. Let's let the weak say I'm strong. Let's be the nation we should be because our time is short. The empires are falling. They come into war. This is our time, man, to make our nation real, to bring it forth out of this hell and to do something amazing for the history books, man. So with that, this Purim celebration, we're going to wrap up. I got some anointings we're going to do. As everybody started eating, we can break out some drinks, whatever y'all want to do. At this time, how do y'all usually close out? We call salute. Yes, no? Okay. No, that's fine. Announcements.
What about a ride? What about a ride? Everybody clapped it up. What about a ride?
I need to.